Okay, we're up at sunrise. We're gonna see if we can find some dolphins today. We're really gonna just test out the hydrophone, but we're at least putting ourselves in a scenario where it might be possible for a pod of dolphins to stumble upon it. Since I'm waking up my partner at 5 a.m. before sunrise, I think the least we could do is bring some coffee. Hey, sweetie. Here's some coffee. It was made with so much love.
You promise.
I super promise.
How is it?
It's 5:30.
Oh my meat.
The thing is pretty freaking tough. And dive gear. Not bad, but we gotta get going. So we have the buoy. I tested it all last night. I charged batteries all night, and I basically threw the whole field lab into the car. But what we're hoping to do, I mean, really, we just want to make sure that the buoy's gonna seal and we can collect video for a good long time. Because, you know, sealing the buoy and putting it just like in the sun outside to check the solar charger actually gets really, really hot, especially here. So I think putting it in the water is going to be a huge improvement for its thermal performance. So what we're going to do is we're going to get to the site. We're going to be on top of a cliff, and we're going to turn on the buoy, scout out our entrance. Hopefully by the time we have that all kind of situated, we can check that the buoy is on cellular network and that we're doing our recordings and we can download them. Just verify that we're all online. Then we'll come back and seal the buoy and maybe wait another 10-minute window to make sure that nothing's changed since we've sealed it. And then we'll make our way down. Okay, so in terms of mooring, we have about 10 kilos of weight, which we could potentially use for mooring in calm conditions like this. It really is not enough for, I think, a buoy of this size. But we're gonna be filming this thing. We're gonna be swimming the buoy out. So we don't have a boat today. So I'm just gonna try to find a rock to tie the mooring line off to. We should have about 30 meters of line, so that should be plenty. Yeah, definitely not something you do professionally, but again, like nice and lightweight for what we're doing today. I'm loving this. It's the first time I'm really thinking like about sound. You know, I saw that School of Squid and I'm like, do squid make sound? Like, I wonder if we can capture their sound. Anyway, we have a nice little spot here where we're in the rocks. We're not on coral, so, you know, it's more interesting to be on a coral bed. We're in a pretty remote spot, so we can still maybe get some boat sounds, which would be great. And we are on like a nice little rock bed, so there is some structure, there is some life, so we should get a nice mix. Yeah, it's moored about 8 meters right now. The tide is going out, so I want to drop the hydrophone and get it as close to the bottom as possible without having it bottom out against these rocks. So let's take a closer look. you'll notice the posture of the buoy. We're in very gentle current right now. But you can see how it's pitching forward towards the mooring, just because we don't have it evenly distributed across the whole thing. I think what we need is another surface float, just so that way it's not pulling so much down as it would be to the side. Super cool. We saw that turtle with the hydrophone. I'm pretty sure I saw some like snapper lining up like they were hunting the hydrophone, but turtle came up for a breath right next to it. I could stay out all day just looking at stuff, but I'm dying to know if we're recording. So I think I gotta get to shore and see if we are getting any of this data. It's a little farther out than I planned on going. Looks like the boat traffic's all coming inside. So hopefully they just leave it alone. I hope they leave it alone. Otherwise I'm gonna fly my drone at them. I don't know what else I can do. Okay, this is now the sunset. Sunrise over there. I just got home. We had this thing in the sun all day. And check this out. The light is still on. Not bad. So all this is data we captured the day we were in the ocean. Each one of these is a 10-minute wave file, and then the PNG is its corresponding spectrogram. So we had the buoy on all day, and we had power left over when we got home. So it was a pretty big success in that regard. There was one glaring problem. We'll get into that later. And what this is the setup we have. So we have our spectrogram here just displaying as an image. And then this is my media player, and I've tried to align the playback with the timeline of this spectrogram. So, you know, this is a 10-minute video, 600 seconds, so we're pretty much there. So it should be really easy to kind of look at points of interest and listen to them. This is one of the spectrograms. This is the spectrogram from when we jump into the water. So we see kind of this ambient, I'm calling this like the background noise of the universe being the ocean. So yeah, this is like this ambient ocean sounds. And so right here, we're banging the hydrophone along the rocks as we're climbing down and getting ready. And then right about here is when we jump in and we can hear everything crackle. So let's just take a quick listen. One really nasty thunk, and we're in. And hopefully you can hear some of the background crackling of the ocean coming into your ears focus. What's interesting to me, so one of the first things I'm noticing with this, And I'm not going to harp on this too much, but this really needs to be on a log scale, because I think a lot of the sounds that we're going to be interested in terms of like, I think a lot of the sounds we're going to be interested in are going to be below 1,000 and 2,000 hertz, or at least some of it. And yeah, I think that's just how you generally would present that kind of data. Yeah, because there's a lot of information under here that we actually like can't see very well with this visualization. The other thing I'm wondering is, if you look, I don't know what happens here to here. I probably could tell you that I'm swimming into deeper water. At the beginning, we don't have a lot of this like high frequency background noise. And I don't know why that is. I'm starting probably pretty close to the shore. I don't know if that has to do with depth or just being against the cliff face. But now we can kind of hear the rest of it come on. So that's an interesting one. I'm curious also what's happening here. So my suspicion is that like all of this kind of low frequency sound is like the swooshing, maybe the buoy bobbing in the water, or like water rushing over the hydrophone or something. So maybe we can isolate some of that. There you can definitely hear it. I'm wondering if that's what this is right here. Here we have this higher frequency event. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's definitely a boat. Oh, and then this is my dive computer. Okay, jumping to the next file. This one is like our chef's kiss recording. So same setup, we have our playback at the bottom, and here's our spectrogram. And yeah, this is just stunning. Right away, we can identify points of interest. We have like a very clear tone here, and then just like a ton of noise on the channel. And then same thing here, where we have like this very clear tone, dips down, and then picks back up. And I'm like so positive these are boats. So let's just take a quick listen. That's so cool. So this is like, it's interesting just to see it be like total full spectrum block out. Like we're blocking out the sun, acoustically speaking, with these boats. And like you always hear that it's bad for coral health to have like a bunch of noise pollution, just because it kind of keeps other things from communicating on the reef. But it's just cool to see it like on a spectrogram. These boats are coming quite close. I think we're within like 100 meters of us. Let's also listen to this one. Let's start right where we start hearing this band. I don't know to what extent you get Doppler shifts in audio in the water, just because water, the sound moves so much faster. There's my, oh, this is my dive computer again. But I'm pretty sure what this is not a Doppler effect, but actually the boat engine ramping down and then starting back up. And that's very fascinating to maybe identify, like, not what activity the boat's doing, but yeah, you can actually kind of get a little more information than just the presence of the boat or not. And then we also have all these low register sounds again. Let's see, I don't know, this must just be the buoy bobbing. More whooshing water. You know, I'd love to, and then now let's just listen to maybe a little bit of the crackle of the ocean. Here we're just at the tail end of that boat passing through. You know, what's crazy to think about is for every sound we hear, there's a corresponding natural phenomena. So, if we could actually classify what those are, we'd be doing a great job. And it would be a very valuable sensor because it would provide a lot of information about what's happening in an ecosystem while, only really needing one device to monitor it, and it could all be kind of done remotely. It's an incredibly challenging task. So a lot of the sounds we're gonna hear are maybe sand hitting rocks, and a lot of times near reef there'll be like coral rubble where there's been coral damage. So that's rubbing together in the waves, and that makes a lot of sound. And how that's distinct from maybe a parrotfish grazing on a rock. Acoustically speaking, is probably very challenging. But if you had this catalog of sounds and their corresponding natural phenomena, what does an eel hunting a fish sound like? We could actually uncover a lot of information about a given ecosystem with a device like this. And there are companies that do this, but it's a daunting task and it's a lot to put together. But I think it's just, I don't know, I get a little starry-eyed thinking about it. I think it's good to have a long-term goal with projects like this. I think the next step, besides getting us on a log scale, would be to kind of just build up our tools a little bit. It would be very good to be able to even isolate, just start incorporating some filters in this, and start isolating what sounds kind of belong where. Because we're reviewing this and we're hearing all these different crackling sounds, but I don't hear these clicks and think, oh, okay, that's 4 kilohertz or that's 18 kilohertz. So just able to have a way to kind of isolate different parts of the spectrum and play it back would be super valuable. But yeah, honestly, this was an amazing start. We left it out all day. Solar panel was going. I think if we had a way to cut off the battery programmatically, and restart the buoy, we'd have a pretty robust system with one big exception, and we're gonna get into that right now. Here comes our shame. So we had a few, a good hour or a good 30 minutes of recording, and then we start getting this terrible noise, and it's on everything. This is just pure garbage. I'm even afraid to play it for you. And it's like this for the rest of the day, and it's heartbreaking. Here, I'll play it off of, I'll play it when it's on setting, maybe. Yeah, here we can still see our kind of ambient background noise, our ambient ocean background. And now these bizarre sampling spikes. So what's going on? Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And this is so heartbreaking, but I'll show you what happened right now. At first I thought maybe, it was an issue with our power supply or something had gotten knocked loose in the ocean, but that is not the case. So I don't know if I broke the hydrophone itself or if something's gotten jostled in here. So let's crack it open and see what we can find out. I tell you what, that was a lot easier than when it was factory sealed. There's a little moisture in there. Okay, first thing I noticed is that the cell modem antenna did come off. I was worried that maybe it was too low in the buoy to be working, but I think that happened when we were in the water, so that explains that nicely. I was really hoping that the cable here would be undone, and that would explain our bad hydrophone sounds. Oh, this connector is wet though. Hey, and there's your problem. It's an interesting color. I wonder why it's that color. Okay, well, maybe nothing's ruined. It's just wet. We'll try that out and see what we get.